The streaming wars, though, continue to move forward, and the latest, Peacock. Um, thoughts on the name first, Dave. Peacock, NBC's newest streaming service that's going to be competing with the likes of Disney Plus. Is it Apple Plus? Is that what it's called?
Apple TV Plus.
Apple TV Plus. And now Peacock joining the fray, along with obviously CPS. Is that All Access?
Yeah.
I can't keep track of all these. Netflix, Hulu, HBO, Peacock. Give me your thoughts.
Well,
good name.
The name is something. I think Sepinwall had an interesting note that Amazon is actually really called Prime Video. That's the name of the streaming service, but everyone just calls it Amazon or Amazon Prime. Will people just call it as NBC Universal? I don't know. Peacock. I mean, there's various nicknames you could assign to Peacock, both clean and not. So at least it's eye raising like a Hulu or something, right? And not as super monotonous as a something plus TV plus, right? But yeah, we finally got the info on this service. We knew the NBC Universal streaming service was coming. Now we know it's looking to be available around April of next year, leading in with the Olympics, which is a nice, I think, advertising platform just to really make people aware of this, because people like me and you who are online understand this and see the news, right? But if you're not on Twitter and don't check trending topics, you might just totally miss these announcements to know this thing exists, and you might actually need to rely on a commercial in 6 months to actually tell you that there's a new thing you can pay for. But to be honest, now that we actually know what's in this, and frankly we know a lot more about Peacock than we do about Apple TV Plus, I think it is a solid slate of stuff, both new and old, and we don't actually know the price yet, but I think it's one of the better values as far as streaming options are, given the backlog of existing IP that it has. What did you think about the slate?
Well, so the slate is interesting. You know, it's going to have exclusive rights to Parks and Rec and The Office, two of the biggest comfort TV streaming properties that are out there, along with Seinfeld, which will be joining Netflix in 2021, and
Friends is on HBO.
Friends, right? So that's intriguing. They also have 30 Rock, Downton Abbey, which we're not going to be talking about today, but obviously has a big fan base.
Yeah, it's really a stacked set of back shows.
Yeah,
like, along these lines: Cheers, Frasier, Will and Grace, Psych, the whole SNL library, Friday Night Lights.
Yep.
I mean, these are popular shows.
Yeah. To be honest, though, what probably intrigues me most is some of the reboots, and not necessarily in a good way. They're going to be rebooting Saved by the Bell, The Office, Battlestar Galactica, and Punky Brewster, which, first of all, who gives a shit about Punky Brewster in 2019? I don't know.
IP.
Yeah. Battlestar Galactica out of those three is the one that I am most excited for, only because Sam Esmail's attached to it at this point. And right now, I'd probably trust Sam Esmail with my life.
Indeed.
You know, waiting for Robot Season 4, then also Watchmen dropping. It's Esmail season's approaching. Saved by the Bell.
He's not involved in Watchmen, is he? You mean Homecoming?
Homecoming, yes. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry. Saved by the Bell could not care less about, especially because what's been thrown out there about is that Zach Morris is now the mayor and is shutting down schools and forcing underserved schools, people from them, to go to the better schools.
Interesting.
To, like, throw people together. Don't care. So then it comes to The Office, which, why remake The Office? You have the exclusive rights. You don't need to remake The Office. It's the type of thing that needs to either be really, really good, or even if it's just okay, people are still going to shit all over it. So it just feels like a no-win move for them.
Yeah, I think from a quality perspective, a satisfying a fan's perspective, it's probably a low chance for success. But I think saying we have the new Office reboot. And the only way to watch that is to subscribe to Peacock. Is really all they care about. Because then when you subscribe, you're like, damn, this was disappointing. Oh, wait, all these other shows I already watched but really like are on here. Maybe I'll keep paying. I think that's their whole calculus. Because a new Battlestar Galactica show with Sam, which is just a new take, not a sequel or anything, that's not going to get people to sign up for stuff. That's just one thing. You know, it's like the Apple TV Plus slate. A lot of that stuff sounds interesting, but depends about what everything else you have is. And all those shows we mentioned, I think, have been, I think we know they've been dominant on streaming, whether they're on Netflix, Hulu, wherever they previously lived. And I think what's interesting, though, about Peacock is a lot of those shows we mentioned, not all of them will be exclusive to Peacock. And a lot of those shows have TV syndication. That's not just going to end like at the drop of a hat. So I really think it has to be about the overall library and using something as headline grabbing as an Office reboot, which we know would be sans Carell and Krasinski and everyone else, of course. Just having that as something you can tell people to watch, check it out. I think that's kind of their calculus there. I mean, they'll also have the Universal Library, so you have Fast and Furious and Jurassic Park, again, two massively populous, film franchises to add to the pile. So it's the price, I think, is interesting. It'll probably be, I think, like an Amazon HBO range. That's the idea. I think you also can get it bundled with cable. That was the talk. We don't know yet, but definitely on my eye on Peacock. Now, I personally don't plan to subscribe because, again, I'm ascribing on the value to old things. And I think the key thing will be, though, is we know how popular all these shows will be. Now, will maintaining access to these shows by paying something else actually matter? Or will the people that have watched these shows just kind of had them on in the background? Will they just find something new on Netflix or Prime to watch instead? You know what I mean? Like when the convenience is removed to rewatch all these classics, will you go out of your way to rewatch something, or you find something else instead on the old sites?
Yeah,
that's really the key thing. We gotta just see how it happens.
It's a good point. Where are you at in terms of that tipping point with subscribing to these streaming services? Like, what are you definitely going to get? Disney Plus, obviously, Netflix,
and
Hulu, HBO.
Yeah. Hulu, I don't believe is essential at all.
But it's packaged with so many things.
You can get the package with ESPN Plus and Disney Plus, as we know, but Hulu just doesn't have the breadth of originals, and we still don't really know what Disney's true plan for what differentiates Hulu from Disney Plus is. Like we know it's going to be more adult things, but we don't really know anything concrete yet. So what Hulu becomes, I think, is still TBD. And Amazon, as we've said before, doesn't really matter in the calculus because people don't pay for Amazon to have Prime Video. Prime Video is just a tacked on perk.
Yeah.
Because people buy stuff on Amazon. So that one doesn't really count either.
Right. So it's pretty much Netflix, HBO, and Disney Plus for you.
Correct.
Yeah. This didn't really move the needle too much for me. So Peacock, probably not something we'll be talking about too much unless that price is just right and the shows are worth it.
We'll watch the Sam show, of course, but that has to come out first. Ways away.
Life Finds a Way, a Universal property that will be on Peacock.